place in my heart. I find the truth, I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah. When we unite. Yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome.
Good morning and welcome everyone to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. I am Reverend Cindy Grimes and I hope you all feel welcome here. Does everybody feel welcome here? That is our one of our number one goals is that people feel like they're at home when they come into this place. So if you feel that energy, we have done part of what we set out to do. And if you don't, let me know, but privately. We'll work on it. All right. So what are we about here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala? And do we have any first-time visitors today? Everyone? Oh, right. Welcome. Welcome. Very good. It's a love fest in here. It always is a love fest. All right, our vision, which is now we are in the process of looking at our vision and deciding, is this what we are still about? It's been, I don't know, 9 years, going on 10 years in 2025 that we've had the same vision. So we're changing it up a little bit, but it will be very much like this. And this one says, we are a model center for spiritual living, as evidenced by the transformational impact we have on this spiritual community and how we ripple out, right? Like the Ocala, Marion County, Florida, the world even, as well as the larger Centers for Spiritual Living organization. So there are over 350 different science of mind or Centers for Spiritual Living centers all over the world, and we are just one of those. And our mission is to empower individuals to awaken to the power and presence that lies within and around all of us so that we may live our very best lives. And that means that that power and presence that we call God or creator or universe, or maybe you don't even have a name for it, but it is everywhere present. It has to be, right? If we say that God is all there is, then God has to be right here. God has to be where you're sitting. God has to be next to you. God has to be in your neighbors and even those folks you don't like so much. Right? But God is all there is. And so we're empowering folks to wake up to that reality. And our values, and I welcome you to say them along with me. I think there's going to be a slide at the end, hopefully, for folks to help us choose and reaffirm our values for 2025 and going forward. But for now, this is what they are in the order that we chose them as a community. Number one, spiritual growth and practice, love, appreciation, community, freedom, creativity, health and wholeness, generosity, and financial well being. All right. Everybody likes that one so much. Especially this time of year, don't we? Okay. So today, on our fourth Sunday for this past year, we have had the great honor and privilege of having Lynn Williamson Grigas do our talks from her book, Psychedelic Streams and Rituals. And if you've been coming for a while, and I assume most of you know this, that this has been a year-long series, and today is the last part of that series. So it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet, but I want to tell you some of the things that have happened this year because of this beautiful woman and her husband, David. Number one, we usually pay our presenters to be up here and speak, but Galen has been volunteering her services for this whole year. Not only volunteering, yes, as she had her practice here, it was also paying rent. So they have given in very material and very observable ways. The other thing, look around this room. How many of you remember? I thought it was pretty, the green, but it was a little much. We had a very different vibe when you walked into this space. Galen and David engaged their painter. They bought the paint. So we've got a whole new uplift inside the building, right? In here in the kitchen, but also outside. And some of you have heard this story. A friend of mine from 20 years ago was looking for a place for counseling services and came across CSL Ocala, and my name was attached to it. He was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And to this day, I still haven't seen him because he worked with Galen and David. So they bought the paint and he volunteered to paint the whole outside of the building, right? That happened because of Galen and David. We have had here the first psychedelic integration circles, definitely for CSL Ocala, but probably for Ocala itself. That happened as a result of these folks. And on a personal level, I was able to take a 3-month sabbatical this year in my 9 going on 10 years of ministry. The first time I was able to do that because Galen and David, in part because they were here and could offer that stability so that I could take that time of rest and renewal. So, the TVs, that was another thing that we got here. All of these, and she's over there. She's like, don't look at me. But we want to send some extra love to Rebecca over there as she gets ready to have her first child. Yes, yes. Within the next month. And we have these TVs because of Rebecca and because of David and Richard Jensen over there that helped put them up. So that happened this year. And now we're just going to give Galen and David lots of love as they take some time of rest and renewal for themselves as David deals with some health challenges. And so we want to send some extra love to David at this time and to Galen as they work through this together. And so, all of that said, um, it's time for us to sing, and then Galen is going to come up and do her talk. So we had a little Christmas party yesterday, and our Joyful Expressions group did this song, and we're going to offer it for you today. Okay. And it's a bit of a chant, so once you get it, you're welcome to join in. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. Spirit divine, come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love lives in me. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. You are holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. Spirit divine, come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love surrounding me. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am whole. You are whole. We are whole. I am whole. And so it is.
in honor of Maria Sabina. I've dedicated the book to her as a curandero who was the first to put together the mushroom ceremony with ritual and ceremony for healing. And so we honor Maria Sabina and her journey. This is a legend that was told many, many moons ago, that Mary, and this is, I love this, the angel of the Lord came to Mary. But the legend was the angel of the Lord came to other women as well. But Mary was the one who said yes. So, how will you respond to spirit? When the Spirit of the Lord comes to you, will you say yes? And that's what we're asked to do, just to be the receivers and to say yes. And you know, a baby transforms your life. It sure does, in ways expected and unexpected. And Jesus is the great transformer. If you think about the scriptures and in the Bible, the people who have a direct experience of God don't survive. Do you understand that? If they have this connection that's absolutely that direct connection with God, usually they leave the planet. So Jesus came, and if you think about this, as the great transformer. And if you think of an electric pole and a transformer that's on top of that electric pole, what happens is the electricity, if it comes directly into your house without going through that transformer, would be too much. It can't come into your house that way. So if you can think of that direct experience of God, it's like that raw electricity coming into your home. It's just too much. And so Jesus came to be that great transformer, right? That little bit of a step down so that the energy and the electricity and that experience of spirit was accessible to us all. Isn't that a beautiful way to think of it? So Jesus is the great transformer. Now I have a box up here, and this box is obviously a Christmas box, right? And I don't know about you, but at Christmas time, there's kind of two kinds of kids or two kinds of people. The people who like to be surprised and the people who shake all the boxes and try to guess what's in the box. Now, as a kid, I love surprises. My sister, not so much. She knew where the presents were hidden. She went in there and shook every box. She knew even before we got to Christmas morning what was going to happen. You know, so I just want to leave this up here and we'll come back to it in just a little bit. So it's the holidays, and today I'm going to be talking about rituals and recovery, endings and beginnings. And holidays are filled with the spirit in many different ways. Exactly. They're filled with the spirit. And we have to choose which spirits we want to ingest. We have to choose which spirit that we want to fill our lives with. Now, the 12 steps are a ritual in their own way, the progression through the steps. The meetings are group community rituals of sharing stories and entering into that healing consciousness with one another on the journey to sobriety. And it's a transformational journey. The meetings are guided by many rules and customs. Most meetings have a chair and are highly ritualized exchanges with lots of respect for individual talking and no crosstalk. I actually like the no crosstalk rule a lot. I wish we had that rule in many other settings as well. So let me express myself with no crosstalk. Addiction thrives and lives in isolation. Addiction lives in isolation. And if you find yourself or you see others beginning to isolate, that is a big red flag. Pay attention. The awareness of the power of the group and the community is an important ingredient in the healing process. Now, you combine that with some gut level honesty and storytelling, and you have the recipe for healing. It's a storytelling within the community and relationship that is the key. Each person's healing is affirmed and validated and recognized by those in the group that have been on the path of recovery for some time. However, there can be a larger presence, as in where two or more are gathered in my name, the Great Spirit, the God of your choosing and your naming is present. The I am beingness is during the circle. The group can be and is for many an extended family. And think about this, the first sober family they ever had. They've never experienced this, perhaps generationally. It's the first sober family that they've ever had. The group can be a place of experiencing a non-ordinary state of consciousness as each person reveals themselves within the safety of the meeting, like a sacred circle of caring. Like we have here at the center, the circle is a sacred circle of caring. And not every meeting is always uplifting. I'm just saying, I've been to a lot of meetings. And just so you know, I have been clean and sober from alcohol for 10 years. And I can, yes. So I have to walk my talk. And I've worked in the industry for 30 years. So this has been a journey for me as well. I want to tell you a story about Susan. Early on in my career, I worked at the Susan B. Anthony Recovery Center. And the Susan B. Anthony Recovery Center was for women who were pregnant and in jail or prison. And so it's a lot. So the Susan B. Anthony Center was set up so that we could house the women, and we had a preschool daycare that was right next door. So they came in, we did therapy with the women, and they had the daycare next door, and they learned to live for an extended period of time, and particularly until they had their baby, right? And then they were able to be self-sustaining and self-supporting. We helped them get jobs, give resumes, the whole thing. It was a very comprehensive program. And I was a therapist at the center. And I met Susan when she came in for the first time. I looked out the window, and the van pulls up from the jail, and she's in the orange jumpsuit, and she's in leg irons and handcuffs and pregnant. So you get the visual on that. And a lot of the women came. This was the way that women came to the center. So Susan she jokes because she said she was really a special case because the clinical director gave her two therapists. I was one of the therapists, and my really good friend was her other therapist. And so we tag teamed on her the whole time that she was there. And she was a tough cookie. She wasn't having anything about recovery, about God, about spirituality, about, she was bitter, just bitter and angry. So it's like, I know why she gave us two therapists, So fortunately, Susan did really, really well in the program. And fortunately, Susan also, she was pregnant, right? Susan also married the man who was the father of her baby. And they really entered into this as a couple in recovery, as a couple helping and loving and supporting each other. And this is Susan today with her husband, Peter. And I want to share this with you. and I hope I can get through it. She posted this on Facebook just a couple of days ago. Today, my heart is overflowing with gratitude as I celebrate 18 years in recovery and 16 years of marriage to my life partner, my chosen one, and the absolute amazing person who shared my journey with me, Peter Naramora. Recovery has been a gift beyond measure, a path that has brought me healing, growth, and purpose. And through every step, Peter has been my rock, my confidant, and my biggest cheerleader. His love, kindness, and unwavering support inspire me every day to be my best self. And Susan went on to found the advocacy and education and empowerment for expanding peer-to-peer movement through the South Florida Wellness Network. And she single-handedly has helped hundreds of people become peer support advocates, and she has helped to educate them. So remember the starfish story, right? There's all these starfish on the beach, you know? And, you know, the little boy's throwing them back in, and the man walks over and he goes, "What are you doing? There's so many. You're never going to get them all." He said, "But I can make a difference to this one." And that's what we can do. We can make a difference to that one. And the ripple effect of that is absolutely incredible to that one. So how do we get there? All right. Because I want to, now that's the gift. That's the goal. That's where we're headed. But how did we get there? I want you to understand this new paradigm. Today we have the potential to use transformative rituals, and for some, not for all, psychedelics in recovery is supported by both new and old research, giving renewed hope for entering the treatment experience in a fresh way. The fact is that the 12-step recovery program is a ritual process. And this is what it says in the text of the big book. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Our path is a well-documented and highly structured form of ritual that has led thousands of people into a balanced and healthy life. Ritual is the most important factor in recovery. Remember, 30 years ago, my master's thesis was on transformative rituals and how rituals help us in the healing process to enter into non-ordinary states of consciousness. I've been on this path and researching this for over 30 years now. So I bring this to you as my gift to you so that you can feel it and know it and experience. The addicted person already has many unhealthy rituals going, and the application of the rituals in AA can lead to stabilization and life-enhancing behaviors. Although little talked about, it is well documented that Bill W. had his first spiritual psychedelic experience after being given belladonna cure in a hospital while being detoxed and treated for his alcoholism. His spiritual vision was the turning point of his life. Many years later, Bill Wilson continued to experiment with LSD to overcome a continuing depression that was debilitating. We are only beginning to see the ways we might incorporate the use of non-addictive psychedelics into a vibrant program of recovery. This may seem very paradoxical, right? To use a psychedelic drug to help overcome another drug. Not necessarily. When you understand, addiction is sometimes defined as spiritual bankruptcy, often characterized as being an emptiness or a hole in the soul. Addictions have devastating consequences. The addicted person is trying to fill an inner emptiness with anything and everything. And boy, do we have lots of options today. You know, even addiction to social media. I'm sorry, friends. They are marketing us for this. They're prompting us. They're dinging and buzzing and sending us. There's so many ways where we can be pulled off of our own path. And so in the end, there is just the experience of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Never really getting any alleviation of the internal pain and suffering while using ever increasing amounts of drugs, alcohol. It could be everything from social media, gaming, pornography. I mean, it's all there, and it's so prevalent in our culture today. And so while using ever increasing amounts of drugs and alcohol to anesthetize the pain of the emptiness. And remember, that's what you're hoping that the addiction will do, will anesthetize the pain. Simply said, addiction is spiritual bankruptcy. And a spiritual malady needs a spiritual response. A spiritual malady needs a spiritual response. Let's say that together. A spiritual malady needs a spiritual response. The experience of, for some, psychedelic medicine, like for Bill Wilson, opened him up. This psychedelic medicine became a catalyst. And think about this. The psychedelic medicine became a catalyst for recovery for the co-founder of AA. In effect, using a non-ordinary state of consciousness with the belladonna cure to help enter and change a highly dysfunctional, non-ordinary state of consciousness, his alcoholism, into something more functional and life-affirming. People suffering from addiction who are willing, okay? That's what it takes. Are you willing? Because that's what we have to surrender, you see? Not my will, but thy will be done. That's the surrendering process. People suffering from addiction who are willing can choose to travel a similar transformational pathway for spiritual, psychological healing through their own psychedelic rebirth, through ritual rebirth, and have new hope for their own recovery. Now, this is fascinating to me. One of the hallmarks of the experience is spiritual conversion, which was first introduced by Dr. Carl Jung, which may seem strange to some, all right? But it is not because Jung had played a critical role in the formation of the fellowship. In the late 1920s, an investment banker and former senator from Rhode Island, Roland Hazard, was sinking deeper into his alcoholism and had tried everything. According to the letters written between Hazard and his cousin, Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Leonard Bacon, who was himself a patient of Dr. Jung, recommended that his cousin go to see Dr. Jung as a last-ditch effort to save him. Hazard did well for several months while working with Dr. Jung, but then relapsed on a trip to Africa. During a second round of analysis with Dr. Jung, he told Hazard he was a chronic alcoholic and there was nothing more that psychiatry or medicine could do for him. That's pretty harsh to hear. And to hear it from Carl Jung, I would be shaking. Dr. Jung went on to give one glimmer of hope and said that occasionally alcoholics could recover after experiencing some type of religious conversion. However, the recoveries attributed to life-changing, vital spiritual experience were relatively rare. So Dr. Jung was not a stranger to religious experiences, having a father and uncle as clergy. Additionally, his mother was a spiritual woman and shared with her son that she had visions in the night where she was visited by spirits and had the gift of second sight and seeing more deeply beyond the physical into what we would perhaps call the mystical or metaphysical dimensions. Dr. Jung also worked as a young intern in a medical school treating many alcoholics and alcohol-related problems. Isn't that fascinating? That is incredible. This spiritual experience was very unusual remedy, and having that prognosis shook up Hazard, who then returned to find the fellowship in the Oxford group. And those of you who know AA know Oxford group had a big role to play. A Christian evangelical movement active in Europe and the United States from the 1920s to the 1930s. The association and fellowship that Hazard felt and experienced with the Oxford group proved the spiritual conversion experience for Hazard that Dr. Young had talked about. Hazard stopped drinking and devoted his life to being of service through the Oxford group to give hope and inspiration to others who were sick and suffering. Hazard and a few other members of the Oxford group were vacationing in Vermont in 1934 when they ran into an old friend, Edwin Ebby Thatcher, who was a lifelong alcoholic who went to jail several times and was on the verge of being institutionalized. You see, this is Susan's story too. The three Oxford group members gathered up their friend Thatcher, and he was released to their care. Through prayer, reading the Bible, and the fellowship of the group, he was able to finally sustain sobriety. After months of sobriety, Thatcher went to visit one of his old drinking buddies with whom he had drank for over 20 years, Bill Wilson. Isn't this a great story? I love this story. Thatcher shared his story with Wilson and explained Dr. Young's message of a vital spiritual experience. He shared with Wilson how the Oxford group had a way of helping you confess your character defects, admit defeat, and accept help from a higher power. The reason he was there with Wilson was part of the program, as well as to be of service to others. And this was part of his restitution and staying sober as well. Wilson continued to drink, but finally decided to go to Calvary Church in Manhattan to see for himself and visit Thatcher there. He was drunk when he arrived. Of course. They don't say you have to be sober to go to an AA meeting. Remember that, okay? Thatcher gave him some coffee and a bowl of beans to help him sober up, and Wilson sat and heard the message. There must have been something that struck a chord, because Wilson went home and told his wife he was going to quit drinking. Wilson was then admitted to detox to Towns Hospital for drug and alcohol addiction in Manhattan. While in the hospital, Wilson felt deeply depressed, and he prayed and pleaded to God for help. I'll do anything at all. If there be a God, let him show himself. Wilson reported that the entire room was filled with light, and he described an ecstasy feeling, a new world of consciousness, and an experience of God and his word. That was the last time Bill Wilson ever drank. And remember, he was given belladonna, which was a psychedelic that helped this experience to happen. They don't tell this story very much anywhere, do they? It's really fascinating. So Wilson spent the rest of his life seeking this spiritual awakening and renewal. And while on a business trip to Akron, Ohio, Wilson found himself on shaky ground and reached out to a local physician, Dr. Bob Smith. The two men were deeply connected by their desire to stay sober and had long and deep conversations on how this takes place in a person's life. Wilson stayed at Dr. Bob Smith's home, and while there at his home, Smith relapsed and started drinking again. Wilson was there to help his new friend, and the last date that Dr. Bob Smith took a drink was June 10th, 1935, the date celebrated as the anniversary for AA's founding. By 1939, the two friends had separated from the Oxford group, and the Fellowship of AA became an independent entity. In 1961, after years of sobriety, Bill Wilson wrote to Dr. Carl Jung. He and other members of AA had read Jung's Modern Man in Search of Soul. In the letter, Wilson told Jung, "Your words really carried authority because you seem to be neither wholly a theologian nor a pure scientist. Therefore, you seem to stand with us in that no man's land that lies between the two. You spoke the language of the heart that we could understand. So the question is, how do we come into the relationship with powers that are so much bigger than ourselves? And ritual is a way to do this. Ritual helps to ground the bigger experiences of life. The ritual helps to give structure to what may be a more chaotic or unstructured experience. Jungian analyst Robert Johnson summarizes, according to Jung, humanity holds a special role in creation to contribute to the act of consciousness and the point of view of morality in its highest sense. Raw archetypes, like tornadoes, are amoral. A tornado does not care where it touches down or what it destroys. It simply acts as it is meant to act. We have no control over the actions of a tornado. We can, however, come to terms with an archetype because in a real sense, it is us. Addictions can be viewed in this way as the archetype of despair and destructiveness. Addiction is like an amoral tornado. It wreaks havoc and pain in the lives it touches. The description refers to people in the worst part of their addiction as being out of control like a tornado and leaving a path of devastation behind. Robert Johnson continues the theme of oneness and unity on the inside being restored. Remember, everything comes from one source, and the unity of that oneness can be restored. Everything comes from one source. Let's say that together. Everything comes from one source. And in step 2 of the 12 steps, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Clearly, it is pointing to the one source and how it can be restored. Johnson explains, a good place to begin our understanding of inner work is the Nicene Creed, Credo in Deum, I believe in one God. Psychologically, this means that there is only one source, one beginning, one unity out of which all life flows and to which it returns. You cannot get lost because you are already home. You are already home. Just turn to someone on your right or your left and say to them, you are already home. You are already home. I love this so much. So through dreams and rituals and group support and therapeutic support, and perhaps even psychedelics for some, we have an opportunity to find the parts of ourselves and find our way home, to intimately experience a reconnection to the power of our inner life force from which all life flows, and our creative regenerative power brings us home to ourselves. The process of healing is ongoing as reflected in the 12th step. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. This indicates the whole purpose of the addictive process is to have a spiritual awakening and find our way to ourselves. You are not a victim. It didn't happen to you for nothing. There's a reason for this. It has come to help you to understand your own spirit and your own spiritual journey. David Hawkins, MD, PhD, was the director of the Institute of Spiritual Resource and the founder of the Path of Devotional Non-Duality, a renowned pioneer and author and lecturer and clinician in the field of consciousness rights. The 12th step says the whole purpose of the addictive process was to awaken them and move them from one level of consciousness to another, to go from being asleep and unaware to being awake, conscious, and aware, to move from being unconscious irresponsible and helpless victim to owning themselves as being spiritually responsible for the happiness and success within their life. This precludes putting the source of happiness outside of themselves. Our happiness is not out there somewhere that we have to try to get and find, and we're on this path of outer journey. Trust me, I have counseled with people who are millionaires and they are miserable. It's not outside of them. It's nothing that you can buy. It's inside. Instead, they realize that the source of happiness is the same as the source of life and comes from responsibly owning oneself as a spiritually aware person. This is why we're here. This is what we're doing, to become a spiritually aware person. You just being here, just hearing this message, already it's touching something deep inside of you that is resonating. You are already a spiritually aware person. The journey toward happiness and success and owning this is an inside job, not an outer change of circumstance, but an inner shifting and rebirth, right? Where are we here in this month of December? In the solstice, it's the rebirth, right? The whole theme of this is on rebirth. As we know, addictions are progressively deadly disease, and the way to recovery is through becoming more aware and spiritually attuned to life. Hawkins conclude, addictions are progressively fatal diseases, and the only way to recover from them is to become progressively spiritually aware and more conscious. That's our choice today. Make that choice. Say yes to that. Life itself depends on becoming conscious via major self-confrontation with something that each person's higher self has chosen. We chose this. Did you hear that? I didn't want that just to slide by. At some level, some of our own suffering is consciously or unconsciously of our own choosing. And the choosing of that has come to us to help us to understand our divine self, our spiritual self. Life depends on becoming conscious via major self-confrontation. So I have to look within. I have to confront my own, let's say, my own character defects. And trust me, we all have them, including me. With something that each person's higher self has chosen that will force them to grow, because there is no turning back. The only options are to surrender their will to God, that which is higher than ego. You get that? If you really want a good definition of God, it's whatever is higher than your ego. That's a great definition, right? We don't have to get hung up on what name, right? Whatever it is, it's higher than your ego. That's it. Your highest self, your best self. Fortunately for millions of people, there is hope and healing. There is a life of living with conscious contact with a power greater than the self. Hawking states, recovery depends on accepting that there is a step-by-step process for healing, and we can move into the process with a bit of gratitude and maybe even some joy. Fascinating story in history, isn't it? All right, now, are you curious what's in the box? We want to know. Move that bus. Move that bus. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The best gifts can't be wrapped. What gift will you give that can't be wrapped this year? I want you to turn to someone on your right or your left and share with them. What gift will you give that can't be wrapped? I'm going to show you. My gift to you, because I'm not leaving the planet. I'm still going to be here in Ocala. But my gift to you is free meditations. And there's meditations that help you enter into your inner healing process. There's free meditations that help you go to sleep and enter into your dream realm and get the most out of your dreams. There's meditations for Phoenix Rising, for Burning Bull, for White Stone. All of these are free and available. And that, my friends, is my gift to each one of you. Yay! The inner healing retreats are going to be private group sessions from here forward. But as you know, I am taking the month of January off. So yes, woo! This is my self-care. This is my care for my family, for David, for Peter. So there is not going to be, so if I don't respond, don't take it personally, all right? I am taking my time for my Sabbath, for my soul and my family. We're going to be in Jamaica. Woo! So keep us in prayer as we're experiencing that rite of passage into the new year together. I'm so looking forward to this. And there'll be many more opportunities to join with Donna and Norma in the upcoming year. So be tuned into that. And if you would like, I have a few books up here. You can give them for a gift for the holiday, and I can personalize that for you. And today, Haley and I are both going to be facilitating the Psychedelic Integration Circle, and you are invited to come and take part in that. And that is going to be at the end of the hallway in the office at the very end of the hall. All right, Light of Stable is going to be the song that they're going to grace us with. Thank you so much, my friends, for being here today. Thank you so much for the love that you have shared with me and the support and the ability to be here and share these very important messages. Thank you so much. Thank you. Elaine, did you want to share something?
Microphone.
Recently, someone passed away from the ketamine experience, and you're aware of that. I know. Can you speak to that as far as safety is concerned, or a lack thereof, or whatever the case may be?
I'll give you my really shorthand, and it's a little tongue-in-cheek. Don't drink and do drugs and go in a hot tub. Any hot tub. They say it right at the, and there was other mitigating circumstances, and he was on other substances as well. So in a safe therapeutic setting, and the way that I work, you have to get a medical doctor's clearance in order to have access to the ketamine. And once you have made that clearance with a medical doctor, it is sent to a pharmacy. You pick up your prescription just like you pick up all your other prescriptions, and you register based upon the doctor's recommendation. So we are working in a therapeutic model that is safeguarded at so many levels. And I would suggest that people be mindful of not doing this alone. And that is a big mistake that people make. Isolation, exactly. Isolation. So it's better to do it in a set mindset and setting where that is therapeutically supported. And thank you, Elaine. Good question.
And the same goes for Jamaica as well. They have safeguards in place, and you go to, a dispensary to get medicine. That all of those safeguards are in place. We encourage that. Any medicine, even the natural stuff, you need to know what's going in your body and how it's going to respond. So this song is my favorite Christmas song because I believe that all of us is a Christ consciousness born in human form and walking around. And so when we sing this song, imagine the angels singing about your birth. Hail, hail to the newborn King. Let our voices sing in my praises. Hail, hail to the guiding light that brought us today to this spirit. Hallelujah. 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 Come now, let it shine so bright to the knowing light of this table. Feel close to the child so dear, cast aside your fear and be thankful. Hail, hail to the newborn King, let our voices sing him our praises. Hail, hail to the guiding light that brought us tonight to this spirit. Hallelujah. 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 Hail, hail to the newborn King. Let our voices sing him our praises. Hail, hail to the guiding light that brought us tonight to this spirit. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. As we celebrate these babies coming in. Bless up, bless up, bless up. One love. Thank you so much, a joyful. Thank you for doing that song for the variety show yesterday and for bringing that to everybody who was not at the variety show. That was our first holiday variety show, and I just love doing that. It was so much fun. And special thanks to Rick and Susan Allen. I know that you guys are usually online, so thank you so, so very much for showing up the way that you did for our kiddos. It was so incredible.
That was amazing. He was a wonderful Santa.
Yes.
Also, we want to say a special hello to Judy. She was a longtime member here that moved away up north. Come up here and wave to her.
Judy?
Yeah,
She
Judy.
watching home?
From where? She's in Tennessee.
Hi, Judy in Tennessee. How's it going? Hi, Reverend Vicky, if you're watching online. She's one of our elders. Just send a little bit of love to her. She cannot make it out here on a regular, so they watch online with her. We are standing on the shoulders of giants, y'all. People who have laid their love, physically put their energy and spirit and sweat into the very floor that you have your feet upon. These people who are in different towns and states and worlds and countries and whatever, just all supporting us. In my mind yesterday, when Rick was saying, oh, I'm so glad you asked me. I'm like, could be no one else. Nick George, maybe. But no one else could hold that vessel the way that couple did, because only them speak that language, and they have been here in the back with these kiddos since the beginning. My kids were what, 9 and 11? Yeah, when they came here, and now their children are in the hands of these beautiful people. Again, my cup overflows. All right, so it is time to share our abundance. Did we pass the basket? Yes. So here's the thing I want you to understand is when you activate the law of attraction, some people call it, right? Reciprocity, the give and take, the ebb and flow that is your good, that is your money. When you activate that by putting in your intention, it's not just by default, I'm paying my bills. Oh, here you go, take my bill money. There's a symbiotic relationship happening. You got electricity. You watched Netflix. You cooked your meals. You had cold water in the middle of the night if you needed it. When you pay that bill, thank you into. So that the universe says, oh my God, somebody grateful. Let me give you more stuff. I know that's what I want to do. So the encouragement is every time you put your good anywhere, thank you. Because it's coming back to you. You're the one activating it. You know, it's kind of like the jukebox. It doesn't play until you put your quarter in. So thank you to all who have held this space. If you have any prayer requests as well, we also have a slip of paper here for prayer requests. We can always put it in that treasure chest there. We'll go in there and pull out those treasures for you. Raise your hand if you need one today. Okay. All right, so we're celebrating our abundance. Let's put our hand over our heart and celebrate that together. Repeat with me. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful, and so it is. And thank you for all of you who give online. Thank you so much. There are multiple ways to give to the center. You can text a tithe, which is one of my favorites. And then, of course, you can auto tithe. It's really up to you. However you activate your good, go ahead and activate it that way. And at this time, I'm going to ask Erin to come on up here with the Science of Mind reading.
I thought this was a very appropriate reading for today because as we're going into new beginnings, some people still feel a little lost. So the title for today's reading is Your God Positioning System. And one of my favorite authors, Robin Wall Kimmerer, who wrote Braiding Sweetgrass, her quote is, "The land knows you, even when you are lost." And from Ernest Holmes, we can be certain there is an intelligence in the universe to which we may come that will guide and inspire us, a love that overshadows. This morning, my GPS took me on a completely bizarre route home. I could see the road I thought I should have been on and knew there was no traffic or logical reason for the detour my GPS insisted I take. As I sternly informed her of exactly how I felt about her inability to give me proper direction, I remembered my God positioning system and burst out laughing. There it was, a gentle reminder that we really do need to surrender, relax, and trust that there is a higher perspective guiding us. In the midst of my mini rant, I realized that sometimes life's unexpected detours exist as opportunities in disguise. Maybe I just needed to take the scenic route to enjoy my morning errands a bit longer. Or maybe I was being set up to be in the perfect time and perfect place in the future. In that moment, I embraced the unexpected, finding humor in the deviation and trusting that even in the twists and turns, there's a purpose and a bit of beauty to be found. How is your God positioning system guiding you today? And for an affirmation, I allow God's positioning system to guide me on my journey, trusting that every twist, turn, and bump is for my highest good. Thank you.
And so it is. Thank you. I use that term all the time, the GPS, the God positioning system. Norma always like argues with the GPS, and then you find out later you avoided that wreck because you followed what she was telling you to do. Mine's Australian. I love her accent. Yeah, yeah. I use Waze, and it's really cool. All right. Oh, oh no. I clicked it. Burning Bowl ceremony is coming up at 11 a.m. on Sunday the 29th. You guys, it's next week. We're going to be joining you guys from Jamaica. So we're going to be doing our little Burning Bowl, and we're doing Burning Bowl, and everybody's Burning Bowl. It's going to be awesome. Fantastic. So definitely be on with us online.
And Donna, it's one of those rituals like Galen spoke about,
Mhm.
right? That's so important and transformative. It really
Very
is a
cool
wonderful
stuff
thing.
happen as a result of these things. You know, for me, using fire especially, because you can't bring it back. There's no getting it back after that. You can't worry about it no more. It's gone. The vision board, here's another way to do ritual as well. For all of us tactile learners, if you're a tactile learner like me, this is one good way to keep it in the forefront of your mind what it is your goals and aspirations and dreams and desires are throughout the year. Keeps you that God positioning system. You get to put in where you are. The GPS can't take you there if you don't tell it where you are. So this is the where am I? Where would I like to go? This is you plugging in the coordinates, if you will. So you want to be here for January 5th at 11 a.m. for that. And y'all, Amy Steinberg and John Moore are coming. And one is one thing. Two, totally different experience. This is a whole weekend. What we are doing now is getting people used to coming to this coast. Because on the West Coast, they got lots of stuff. And on the East Coast, we're like, bring it on here. And these two are bringing this awesomeness to us. You don't want to miss this out. We have one chunk price for the whole weekend, or you can piecemeal it a la carte. It's up to you. Just let us know. The annual meeting is coming up February 2nd at 11 a.m. This way you can know the State of the Union. What's happening here? I spoke to somebody today about volunteering here. If you really want to know the meat and potatoes of what's happening here, volunteer. You get thrown into the mix and you get to be a part of that which is serving this community. It's really kind of fun to see it all come to life. And it's awesome to watch people's faces light up when you know that you had a hand in that. So it's incredible. Please come on out so you can learn about this. Take a moment. If you do not know how to scan, open your camera app on your phone and just point it to this screen right here. It'll open up that link. Please, the community values, we want to gather everybody's opinion. What is important to you? We tally that up, and that's what we repeat as a community because we pick them together. So
Donna, one more
please.
thing on that.
Mhm.
If you're not tech savvy and can't do the scan thing, we have some hard copy over there on that table as you walk into the center. Just get a hard copy and leave it behind so we can add it to the tally.
Yeah. And we have several communities because people like different things. So on a different Sunday, everybody looks a little different. I don't know if you've, for those who come on a regular basis, I tell people it's a spiritual gym. What does your spiritual gym need to have for you? What is of value to you? We get together and we express this together. So you definitely want to be a part of the choosing of that. The community garden, is there any more spots for this? Or is it a closed unit now? There's more spots. If you are one that is concerned about what goes into your form and you have knowledge, it would be great to come in and lend your knowledge to this group. Or if you just like playing in dirt, that works too. Come on down. You need people who love on plants because trust me, whispering to plants is its own kind of healing. Spirit Monthly newsletter. If you're not getting a newsletter and you put your name on that sign up sheet, please come and see myself or Norma or Cindy or somebody in leadership, please, so we can make sure that you're getting that, because we had a little bit of a glitch there for a little bit. So I think it's worked itself out. You can sign up online as well. The Science of Mind magazine that Aaron read, we have some copies in the bookstore. Go ahead and grab it. It's your monthly guide. Every single day you have a different reading. It just kind of keeps you on your track. Volunteer opportunities. This is the slide I was talking about. Scan this and that way you can go ahead and be plugged in. Our volunteer coordinator, Cole, back there for 2024, he's doing such a beautiful job for this year. Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you. And so it's just to watch the whole thing unfold and all these things that happen in the background. You walk in and it looks so different. It feels different. It's because of the effort of all these people. So thank you, thank you. And now we will bless our littles Let's see if they were able to keep track back there. You're also going to bless your little self. So, you know, if you are, hey, you know the drummers in the room, y'all.
This little light of mine,
Hi, Faith Rivera. Mahalo.
I'm gonna let it shine.
She watches us from time to time.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine, shine. Everybody, shine, shine. You know you want to shine, shine. All around the world, shine, shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Come on, mama.
Everywhere I go,
You holding that baby hostage. Come on.
I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go.
All right, you guys, you know how it works. We're going to rub your energy together. We're going to just do this with intention. Here we go, baby. You're going to do it that way. You ready? You're going to say it. We honor you. We see your light. May it shine on all that we do. And so it is. And so it is. And one more time, do the same thing. We're just going to just send that into our inner child who feels ignored from time to time by you. So now we're going to just acknowledge them. I honor you. I see your light. May we shine on all that we do. And so it is. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. It takes effort, y'all. There's worlds there. Worlds are colliding. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, she's looking. You're up there too. She's like, oh my goodness. All right, you guys. So this concludes today's program. We're probably just gonna play a little bit of music, maybe jam a little bit in the background. There's also some food. You guys, lots of food. Oh my goodness. And the integration circle is at 1. Hold on a second. Yes.
Hi, we're having a little lunch today. We're having, what is it? Stoop. It is not soup and it's not stew. So it's chicken with veggies, and we'll serve that out to you. And then we have some desserts, and we forgot a dessert that Angel made yesterday that we're not going to serve till the end. So we're going to set some tables up. So feel free to, we're going to go through the library and then around and then come into the kitchen this way. And then you can be served. And then we'll have tables for you out here. Okay? And the drinks are on the bar. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you to our food and beverage team. They're part of the events team, and they're always working back there. You smell what's going on. That's usually the only way that we know that's happening. And then they come up here. So we're just going to bless our food. Let's do it in that fun, awesome way that we love. It gives you the opportunity to be a kid, right? Da-da-da-da. 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 We thank you, God, for giving the things we need for living, the food, the fun, the friendship, the CSL family. Da-da-da-da. 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 Let's eat. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Prayer, perfection. Perfection. It is perfection. Hello. Freudian slip. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. We are going to request that the little bitties get their food first. If the parents can go ahead and grab that first.